And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Mario Kart Central Twitch. Welcome back to the Mario Kart World Cup bracket stage quarterfinals here today. We've got a big match between Spain and England. I'm one of your hosts, Nathaniel, joined with AJ and Astro as our stream host. AJ, how are you feeling about this match today? What can we expect going into this?
I think it's been a good one. We've got both teams have great players. Both teams are very aggressive. I think this is probably going to be going to 3 games for sure, and it should be good for all 3 matches.
I was definitely going to say the same. If any match was to go to 3 games, looking at the bracket stage, I feel like this could definitely be one of them. As you said, both teams very aggressive. Both of them are going to want to play for the win. Both of them are going to try and get breakouts early and make sure the other team can't get into it. But I'm excited. I'd like to just take a look at these lineups, see what we have in store playing for us today. So looking first at the Spain lineup, we have Akax, Alik, Axel, Cesar, Handro, and Mortless. Cesar, both your captain and your POV from Spain. Spain have had a very good World Cup run. They've beaten one of the favorites in France. Their group performance was really well. Two wins, 1 draw, that being against Italy, and a dominant performance against Brazil in the round of 16, plus 208 and plus 284. But the side's just been really strong this entire tournament. So England have a lot on their plate, considering that this is pretty much what you'd consider a Spain top lineup.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Caesar, really fast, really aggressive, especially with his POV. He loves to go for those camera snipes, something to definitely look out for. And Aketix, extremely fast time trialer. If he's able to get out into the front, you know, he will be very difficult to catch up to from the England side.
Yeah, all eyes on Mortless as well. Mortless has had a brilliant run this World Cup. Not someone you'd expect going into this tournament, but he's done his nation proud and he's done himself proud as well for putting in a big performance. But looking over on the other side now, let's take a look at what England is dishing up today. Gold, Liam, Lee, OJ, Ryan, and Sin. Ryan is your POV today. A lot of strong players, once again, have had a bit more of a bumpier path to getting here than you'd think. They are currently 3-0-3. Their best of 3 versus Australia ended in a 2-1 of the first 2 matches, really tight against Australia. Managed to break out in the 3rd match though. However, this is a strong lineup regardless. So I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. I think this England side has a lot of running potential with the likes of Liam, likes of Sin as well. I feel like Lee, whilst most people probably wouldn't see him as a starting lineup player, he'll do very well to make sure the mid pack is being taken care of, try and do his best to hold onto the Spain players and just keep them back and try and prevent them from getting any sort of breakaway.
Yeah, you know, England, noticeably, we're missing Season and Harry as well. 2 who I would say are definitely, you know, top England players. Hopefully, they aren't even on the sub list, so I think probably just a bit unfortunate that they're unavailable today. But you know, you still got Liam, Gold, Ryan, Sin, all 4 great players. OJ, really good at being aggressive in the pack. You're going to be giving Liam and Sin those big breakaways. Lee, you know, like you said, probably not someone you would really expect to see here, but he's the same kind of thing as OJ, where he's been playing for so long and he knows exactly what to do with his items to enable his teammates, you know, to perform to the best of their ability.
Yeah, so it's going to be looking to be a good match between these teams. Of course, as you said, unfortunate not to see the likes of Sin and Harry playing. However, World Cup just kind of happens to be this way. You've got to field whoever you can when it comes to the dire straits of this tournament. Matches get harder and harder to schedule in. So, but looking at the start of this war now, Spain is your red team, England is your blue team for this match one. We open up on Sky High Sunday. Very strong running track, 1-4. Have the potential to get shrooms and cause a breakaway. However, England in 2-3 might be able to do something to prevent the front run if they pull the likes of triple greens, reds very early on.
Yeah, Caesar does get the triple shrooms, but not being in the first slot makes it a little bit awkward because, you don't want to throw away your only defense for the chains of shrooms, because if you don't pull them, you'll just find yourself defenseless.
Great pull, though, in the pocket of Ghost. These two shrooms kind of just means he is allowed to run. A lot of Spain up here at the moment. OJ trying to play aggressive with his triple greens, just breaking out of thin air. This top pack looks very tight at the moment. It's hard to tell really who's in the lead, but looking at the bottom spots, two Spain players seem to be in the back. Caesar's going to opt to go Sin Shrooms, put a spanner in his plans, as he is now able to develop a little breakaway in first, as it looks to be just Spain top two with a lot of England trailing behind them.
Yeah, not only Spain top two, but it connects with the triple reds in second. It's going to be very difficult for any England player to pass them, without getting instantly killed by him. So their top two is looking very secure for now.
And they're doing well in the mid pack as well to keep that secure, as it seems it's developed into a top four. England trying to push up with Bills in the mid pack. That turn skip very, very strong to take at the very end. Still looks to be England a 3-4 though at the moment. This seems to be just a massive breakaway from top two though, so unless shock comes in, which looks to be an England shock, manages to target shock both of the Spain players. There is one England player up here, however, Spain might just have this top two unlock.
Yeah, at this point, they're so far ahead that it's going to be pretty much impossible to lose. Well, there was an England player right in between them with a horn who was going to sneak in the first, but still 2-3, and it looks like a lot of bottoms, though, for Spain. Not the start you're hoping for, given how good it was looking.
Yeah, it was looking really good until that shock. But yeah, 1, 5, 6, 7, 9, 12 there for England. It was looking really good for Spain with that front run. I think England did really good with the shock to try and neutralize this race as much as possible. Realistically, they were kind of just going for a race where Spain can't get any momentum for it, and they definitely succeeded.
Yeah, given how far ahead they were in top two, keeping that to an even race is a great result for England.
It's going to be interesting to see what kind of tracks get picked for these spots. If you were in this situation, what is it? Race one, tied up. You know what's at stake. What tracks would you be going to try and develop some momentum? If you were either Spain or England in this position?
Given Liam, England's strongest player, is the one in first, probably just be looking for something to him, for him to try to high roll those triple shrooms and really break away. Because if you're in first, it's just so powerful, and especially if you're a player, as capable as Liam is.
Going to Shy Guy Bazaar for this one. This is a weird one, in my opinion. 2-3-4 able all to try and take the rail. We do see Liam opt for it as well, and he does make it perfectly. Caesar unfortunately getting bumped off and forced into the back. The beginning of this race is a lot of who is able to get up onto those rails and make the turn skip. However, if you are going bottom path, the chance of pulling powerful items to kill out the people who make the strats is very, very likely, but it looks to be at least England in 1-3 for the time being. Spain in bottom two. Caesar has a good pull to maybe try and push back up with, but no, just opting to kill Ryan, who has red in the back. Makes sense, doesn't want any damage to happen to him or Axiel in 11th. As Caesar pulls Bill triple shrooms, kind of not the pull you really want, but his teammates are dying around him, so maybe he might be able to run this up if he chooses to do so.
Yeah, getting that into the other order would definitely be what you want, but given how close the pack is, unfortunately dying to a Nana there that his teammate jumped over. You know, with how close the pack is, it's not a huge deal. Dying there, though, is going to force him to build up early, which, you know, could end up backfire. Oh, they did have the shock, though. Caesar calling himself last frame in the bill. Looks like they're now top 4, and all got items to maybe be aggressive on the rail.
The rang pull is very nice to try and be aggressive. All of his mates just behind him on the rail at the moment, but that's all he really wants. If he's able just to hold this and have his mates around him, he doesn't need to use this, only when England look to be threatening any sort of top spots.
And he backs Liam off the rail, which is going to immediately fails, though. Still England, or Spain rather, top 2. Not the worst, but Caesar definitely an uncharacteristic fail for him.
Yeah, unfortunate there, as he now just kind of has to hold the blue shell, as we do see his mates on the minimap, at least in top 2. Opts to throw, whether there is a horn in play for his teammate.
He just his teammate on the line. What? I wonder if an England player didn't maybe sneak up into first there, and someone else said to throw the blue as maybe they killed the player who got into first. Probably just some sort of miscommunication there, but really surprising to see Caesar. You know, I rate him very highly as a player, and that's a very poorly played race. But they, you know, still a still a plus 14 from them though, and you know, with so many errors, I mean, you take what you can get, but that was looking to be an extremely good race until those misplays at the end.
I mean, 1 3 5 7 8 9. You take that from the POV of Spain. Unfortunate that the blue did connect right at the very end. Thought that Spain would have had something to deal with it, because it did look like one of their players was in first on the minimap. The Nabbit falling all the way from first to 7th. However, Spain still managing to get a good enough race out of it. So, despite the misplays, as you said, Spain have something to work with now, and will proceed to try and make something work on Bowser's Castle. Easily one of the strongest running tracks in the game. If you coordinate well with your mates, 135 is able to do a series of different ways to open up to do the opening shortcut, whether it be taking the rail, taking the wall, just sticking to the bottom path entirely. This race could just be decided by who has the top spots by the end of lap 1, depending on how this pans out.
Caesar, another. I wonder if he's maybe letting the nerves get to him, because this is now kind of 3 races in a row where he's had some sort of error. So hopefully, you know, he can get that sorted out moving forward. But Apetix up there in first. We saw earlier he did have shrooms, which is good. And for the POV, it says Ryan. I'm pretty sure we're watching gold. So, something to keep in mind. You might see Ryan pop up on Ryan's screen. Yeah, see, you can see Ryan in front of him. So we are watching gold. Maybe we could get that edited between races.
Regardless, it's looking to be a strong start for Spain. Looking at the minimap, it's at least top 3 for them. Despite Caesar making these mistakes, his teammates are able to capitalize on the fact that they got the right positions for this track and are able to just run. Caesar now just holding the mega. Lee doing what Lee does and holding down the people in the back by slow megaing. Blue shell out for what it looks to be from England, as it's taking a long time to catch up to the Spain player. Does connect, however, the England player up there, who I think is Liam, getting hit out as well. So Spain able to keep their top 2, as England are now just going to have to try and do their best to push up the best they can, as shock is likely to come here, but it doesn't seem to be in play.
Yeah, and Spain holding their top 2 across the cut, and one of the England players even failing. So now Spain, two England players failing even, which is now just giving Spain the huge breakaway in top 3.
It looks to be
top 4 even now.
Caesar Gold doing his best to throw up the fire, more or less hitting the back on OJ on the POV. Doesn't seem to have actually connected though. Gold going to be able to shroom up and get into top 3. However, this is very dire straits for England at the moment. They have the top 3 on lock. These reds too little too late to even really do anything. as Spain just keep this top three on lock. Really good performance from them in the front. England doing their best to salvage whatever they can in the mid pack. It looks to at least be bottom two for Spain, but top 3-7 is still good enough for them to get to keep the momentum going from Shy Guy Bazaar and just keep going forward.
A great race from Spain there. You know, they got their top presence early. I know Akedix had Shrooms, probably one or two other players from them did, and they were able to just maintain that lead the whole race. So great job from them. That's exactly what they need to do against this England team.
And they're keeping the lead, so England, whilst having all the mid spots, they are going to have to just try and find something to get back into this, because Spain has been very good with just if they're able to get any sort of momentum going into a couple races, they are just able to hold onto it and go with it. We saw it in the Brazil match. We saw it in a couple of their group stage matches as well. So England opting to pick Rainbow Road, longest track in the game, whole 4 minutes of track to watch. So get your popcorn, get your root beer, get your Stromboli. We're in for a long one, as England are now just going to have to try and find any sort of momentum to get back into this, as they do start in mid spots, able to draft up onto the mids, maybe push into the front. Loads of triple manners at the start. Looks to still be Spain profiting, though, from the beginning positions. However, a lot of players with Shrooms in the mid pack as well. Lap 2 very strong for shortcuts. So Gold getting hit out, probably going to have to opt a bag now for this race, as both our POVs are just in the back shilling. England with bottom 2 at the moment, though. So Spain looking to still stay possessive within the front.
Yeah, you know, on this track, being in the front's good, but it really only matters being up there at the end of the water section. You know, there's that huge golden cut where you just basically skip the entire track on the glider. So holding fronts for now is good, but you really want to be seeing that, you know, here in about 30 seconds. If you have majority tops, then that's when you're feeling really good about the race.
Sure, Gold having the items to catch up, as you said, with the golden cut, however, is unfortunately getting fired off, means that he is going to have to bag now. Caesar with triple Shrooms blue in 7th. It looks to be his mate in 1st at the moment, so just going to have to probably opt to go for the cuts and see what the situation leads him. As Ryan with triple reds in the mid pack, at least Caesar shrooming up to at least 3rd. OJ is in 2nd, and it's England top 2. Caesar throwing the blue, whether it's able to do anything, doesn't matter, because the England player had Shroom in 1st to dodge, and now it's just England looking to make a breakaway with this top 2 as Spain lead behind. Yeah, phenomenal play from them, as England just look to be dominating a lot of the top spots at the moment. Would you say Spain need a shock to try and get back into this race, or do you think there's still enough time for them to just push without it?
No, at this point, you're definitely going to need a shock. You know, the bill at the end of the track can be really strong, but with how far ahead England is, you're gonna have to have a shock to catch up to really break into those top spots, which is exactly what they have.
Another blue for Caesar. I don't know who smited him with the luck of blue today, but it seems to be working out in his favor, as a lot of Spain players now have the opportunity to catch up. Gold with triple greens in the mid pack, both our POVs in 8-9 at the moment. Shock, whilst used in section 3, there is always the chance for a second one, just due to the length of this track. Unlikely to see it happen, but something that can be put on the table. Both of our mid spots or back spots, even POVs, not really able to do much with the items other than just try and probably burn these on the glider. No, Gold opting to hold the golden, using it in the dash rings. Maybe gonna have to try and play for the second shock, or at least a bill, as you were saying, very powerful on the ending section to catch up with.
Yeah, so you're seeing Spain got 2 of the bottom 3 boxes there, so we're gonna be looking for them to have hopefully bills for the end. Like Bill or Gold also just pulled one, but right now the odds are looking like Spain probably has a majority of them, which will lead to, you know, huge catch-up potential for the end of this race.
Still looks to be a lot of England in the front spots at the moment. OJ doing his best to back Caesar.
Probably
Sid
gonna
has
look to horn him here, which he does connect. Great play from Caesar to burn his horn there. A little surprised we don't see OJ going for a back, where he's already committed to that straight line. It's pretty much guaranteed to hit Caesar, but you know failing that shortcut is so punishing. You can't really blame him for wanting to focus on that.
Caesar with the ring though, one shot left. Not able to connect with OJ, but that OJ's able to connect the back and has ice. Caesar's just going to have to concede, keep the wide lines, so that way OJ is able to keep third. I think one of the Spain players in Bill catching up to him as they take 4-5. Looking at the minimap though, Spain player in first? Yeah, more or less in first. 1, 4, 5, 6, 8, 11 for Spain. England doing their best to try and reset the momentum, but Spain just full foot on the gas at the moment, getting winning race after winning race.
Yeah, again, that was exactly what Spain needed. They got a little bit lucky with the double blue shell, but they pulled shock. Although that's kind of the classic spot to use it, very predictable. They ensured nobody in England was in a dodge, and even if it's a predictable spot, if the other team isn't covering for it, then it doesn't really matter, right? So great shock use from Spain there.
Yeah, Spain just fully on the gas at the moment. If you were England in this situation, AJ, what would you be doing, or what would you be thinking of picking to try and get back into this? Are there any tracks that come to mind?
I'm a big fan of Mario Brothers Circuit. If you've got that kind of a lot of spots behind first, you can have someone sacrifice himself into the tires, and the other two players are able to get on that rail really easily. The players on the other team might also sneak in behind you, but as long as you're confident on the track and can hold your one spot, it's not that big of a deal if they're on there behind you.
I mean, Mario Bros. We are seeing another Mushroom Cup track. Mario Bros. Circuit, sadly not being it, as we do go to DK Spaceport. Some would say this is based off a video game. I can't tell you which video game it's based off, though. Chat, if anybody knows, please let me know, as Caesar and Liam with Shrooms in top 2 are going to be able to help them take the cut. Caesar probably going to opt to try and get a second place box still to see if he can pull maybe an extra Shroom to catch up, or have anything to try and kill out Liam in pocket. But Liam's Shrooms do get ghosted, so after this cut, Caesar could be a little bit more confident in first place, but has to burn the Shroom early to tank the red shell. Not as much of the lead as he thought he was going to get, as it's a lot of England players behind him now.
We're going to try to hit Liam, sadly not connecting with any of them. Getting that box in second means he has the chance to roll the Shroom, which Liam does not.
Reds behind him though from Ryan, just opting to back everything to get rid of them, but no dice. The bomb doesn't do anything, the Nana doesn't do anything. England looking to secure at least some of the top spots at the moment. Spain a lot in the back. They're going to need a late shock to try and catch up, otherwise it's looking very good for England. Gold with triple reds in pocket means that if Handro is up there, yeah, he's able to try and red him out. Going to space these reds out a bit more effectively to make sure that Handro does actually get affected by them. It's Spain still in first, though. I think the Nabbit player was able to pull the bill and just take the cut, meaning that no England player could catch him. But England, with a lot of the mid spots there, and Spain, a lot of the bottom.
Yeah, no, that was a great play from, I believe, Ryan, who pulled the shot last set. England, they're up there, all those mid spots, no dodges, no reason to use the shock. So Ryan, waiting until his whole team crosses the line, using the shock at the very end, he passes, I believe, 4 Spain players there at the end, which gave them, obviously, bottom 4 and an incredibly large race for England, which is exactly what they needed. They were down, I think, 34, and now they're down, I believe, only 12. So huge race from them.
Yeah, England just looking to struggle getting into first place, though, at the moment. However, 2 through 6, 8, it's a winning race for them. It's some sort of bounce back that they needed. It's just going to now be a case of whether they are able to keep the momentum from this bounce back, as Spain has mainly been dominating a lot of the tops just from lap 3 and the ending results that we do see. Aiken Heights coming out from Spain 1-0 on this track can be a little bit scary, knowing that you have all the Oh, sorry, it's an England pick actually. Makes more sense now as uh, having all your players in 2 through 5 being able to draft up, try and pull shrooms and develop an early breakaway is very strong, as this track does have a lot of involved driving techniques to allow breakaways. However, opening of the pack is going to be very scrappy. Gold not able to survive it. Sin not able to survive it either, as it looks to be England in at least bottom 3, as Spain is going to try and develop breakaways, as we have just seen them do this entire first half of the war.
Yeah, you're already seeing a lot of red in the front, where a track like this, so many rails, it's so easy to be aggressive and, build your lead in the top spots, which it looks like both the top 2 players have shrooms, so it's going to be a little bit harder for them to make those aggressive plays without burning what they already have. But I think a track like this, definitely worth going for if you pull the right items behind your shroom.
Absolutely. I feel like having any sort of like attack items, triple greens, red shells, triple reds, as we see Gold pull in 3rd place, going to try and at least take out a leak from these. He's not really able to do much with the ice after, as it is OJ behind him, I believe. Both players looking, at least from Gold's POV, to have messed up. However, executing their driving perfectly to at least make sure that the Kamek doesn't do anything for the bomb from the Spain player. They now just have top 2 unlock. Liam taking over in 3rd, as it's 3-4-5 for England at the moment. However, there is a lot of Spain in the back, so whether shock is going to happen or not is kind of still on the cards just from this pack split.
Yeah, and I want to point out, that was great awareness from Mortlas right there. OJ had hammers behind him, threw them up on the rail, where, once you're committed to that rail line, it's very hard to switch. He was in his rear view and was able to react with his ghost, which let him hold this top spot up here to stay up in the front, which is really good reactions for him.
Gold opting to keep the ghost chain going on for longer, just staying in invincibility, keep stealing Liam's triple greens, opting not to play aggressive, as England at least do hold 3-4. Spain able to just hold top 2, though. Beautiful run from them. Looks to be a lot of England in the mid-pack again. 3-4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bottom 3 for Spain. Not as huge of a race for them as that DK Spaceport race. However, England at least clawing into the mid-pack and ensuring that Spain at least keep these bottoms. As much as it doesn't look like a lot, it might be able to do something if they are able to get a track pick and have the first set of items roll their way to see if they can maybe get a breakaway the next race.
Yeah, again, very well played from Spain, especially on lap 2. I think it was Axel in 2nd. He had 2 items. He backed both of the end rails. Gold, he had the ice to break the first item, but then the bomb, pretty much unavoidable, so very smart of him to wait and delay that to the very last rail, where it also hits him off the map and forcing a respawn.
Yeah, just great plays from Spain in top 2, as we do go to Crown City now. This being alongside Rainbow Road, the only other section track in the game. All 3 laps, very, very different from one another. Lap 1 is going to be a lot of seeing whether these players can pull shrooms or even a good set of fish and chips. Gold gets a bad chippy. Gonna have to fire the person in the Cooper van for that one, mate. As the big cut at the beginning, after 2nd set, is very, very strong to push up with shrooms and try and develop any sort of breakaway. Gold with a star, though, in pocket. Whether he opts to chain or not, yeah, he does chain. Makes sense. Mega Bill, this is going to be a pull that he would like to try and see if he can run with at the moment, as the minimap doesn't tell a lot, at least on lap 1. Gold doing well to squish the Spain player with triple reds, making sure that all the threats are out the way. It looks to at least be Spain in first, but a lot of England behind them.
Yeah, a lot of England behind them, and Gold having this bill so high up, it's gonna, he's gonna pretty much have to hold it to cover for a shock at this point. If he were to use a bill in 4th place, it's gonna pass 2 people and instantly end. So, probably either going to be looking to save it all the way until the very end shroom cut, or potentially his team can pull shock and he gets, a dodge out of it, but only having a single green behind is not super useful.
Yeah, no, we look at the bottom spots at the moment. It looks to be Ryan in the back. He's not really used anything, so whether he has shock or not is yet to be seen. But both mid spots here, Caesar also having a build, way better item in pocket golden, is going to get way more longevity out of this pull than not. But the bills both coming in, shock coming in. Caesar able to predict the dodge, as we could assume that was an England shock. The back green from gold actually connecting, but it not doing too much, as Caesar is now just able to get a breakaway in first. England's still at least 2-4 though.
Smart from Liam there to not even attempt going up onto the rail, you know. Even though Caesar's not showing an item because he didn't use his coin, Liam watched him get that double item box, so he knows there's going to be something coming back if he were to go up on the rail.
Yeah, very scrappy ending from the end. Gold falling off, meaning that he is unfortunately able to get last. Caesar getting first, 2, 3, 4, 6, bottom 2 for England. However, Spain with 1, 5, 7 through 10. Very good race for them. Presuming that was an England shock, Caesar did very well to react to the fact that gold went in Bill, knew where the common shock spots were on the track. As they are able to keep England down, it's currently only a 14 differential between the two teams. This has been a very close first half. Neither team wanting either to break out or try and get any big races. Do you think we're going to see some big races come the second half, or are we going to see a war just as close as this throughout the rest, the next coming races, AJ?
You know, I do think it's going to be relatively close like this the whole time. I think these teams are very evenly matched. I think individually, I think England's probably a bit better. But, you know, Spain is just so much better at being aggressive and kind of, you know, covering for their slightly lower level of individual skill that this is going to stay close the whole time, I would say.
Going into race 8 now, Choco Mountain on the field. England have been picking this a lot this tournament. They like it to see whether they can pull shrooms from the initial boxes and try and make some sort of front run happen. However, this track is very volatile, 2 bagging as well. A lot of build cuts, a lot of great uses for the golden mushroom. If you are in the bottom spots, catch-ups are very, very likely to happen if you play your cards correctly. But we're going to see the pack probably break away into the fronts and the backs getting established very, very soon, as gold, feather triple shrooms, really good, allowing him to take the cuts. Bit of a wide line, meaning he's not able to stay close to that Spain player. However, having red in pocket, he's not going to be able to really be aggressive with this until after the cut, because he's going to want to take the cut himself and try and catch up to the Spain 1-3 that they have at the moment. First having to go around though, which means Liam is now able to get into first. Shroom in second from the Spain player. It's 1-3 for England. Gold failing Superman though. Devastating fail, as it's now just a load of Spain behind England's first place.
Yeah, it looks like he also just ran into a football right as we switched off his POV. So he is going to be in the back now for most likely the rest of this race.
It's still Spain 2-3-4 though. Ryan in fifth. The back spots all going to try and look to make a catch-up right now, whether we see a shock from either team yet to be told by the minimap. Respect to Caesar for trying to hit out the snipes to try and mess up Liam's driving. None of the hits really even going through though. 2-5 from Spain. OJ dodging in Bill. Actex dodging in Bill as well. Looks that OJ is just going to be winning the race from that shock. However, all of Spain behind him, whether that was an effective shock for England or not, doesn't look to be the case, as it's just England bottom 3 at the moment. However, ending of Choco Mountain, spots can get broken up by Bills. Caesar having to do his best to weave around his teammates who have triple nanas in the mid spots. OJ getting taken out though.
Could this be a fridge? Nope, they had Bills at the end. It was very close at the end though.
Very close.
Shock from England. I saw it was, I believe it was Sin who used the shock. Looking at the map, he was going around. He was in bottom 2 spot. He was going around all the shortcuts And his teammates, I think he had 2 people also dodge behind him. So, I'm sure they were probably trying to get their dodges, unable to do so. They just, let him pass, drop behind him to be behind Shock. But at a certain point, you're just putting yourself too far back when you go for that, right? So I think, they tried to be behind Shock and it just didn't really pan out, despite how many, big shortcuts there are to take.
No, for sure. Spain just able to capitalize as well with the fact that they had 2 sets left to work with, was able to pull all the correct items to just kill out England as we now go into the final Grand Prix. Spain just going to look to want to hold on to this. Doesn't need anything too flashy at the moment as they're in the lead by 42 points. But England is going to be knocking at their door trying to get any sort of answer from both track picks and item pulls, as we do see Koopa Troopa Beach in play from Spain. And I don't know nothing too much about Koopa Troopa Beach. I know previously, before 1.7, this was very good for just bagging and seeing if you can run up your items. However, AJ, I think you might have a little bit more insight than me. What do you think Spain is trying to use with this track even? What do you think they're trying to accomplish and try and see whether they can get a winning race? What's the strategy going into this?
I think this track is terrible. You see Caesar, he just pulled those triple shrooms. You can still pull more shrooms from this first set on lap 2, but you see he does pull a ghost. Not as good as triple shrooms, but you see they have 3 players to England's 1 who's up here, and that's most likely because they all pulled shrooms and they chained them to pull even more shrooms on lap 2, which is, it's a little bit crazy. It's a little bit crazy, but these are the kind of tracks that Spain likes, these shorter tracks, a little bit more volatile. They like this track, and they also pick DK Spaceport, another, minute 30 long track with lots of, fast-paced stuff going on. So, it to me, I think this track is not good, but they pick it and they typically get good results. So, if it works for them, then fair enough.
Going into lap 4 now, it still seems to be a lot of Spain in the spots. Lee pushing up from England with red in first. Caesar not really able to do anything, just kind of has to respect the fact that Lee is in first. Gold pushing up in Bill at the moment with triple shrooms in pocket. This would be really good for him. Caesar getting taken out. Gold pushing up as it's an England top 2 at the moment. But Shock coming in. Looks to be a good few of the England players dodging. Sin and Bill, OJ and Mega.
I'm pretty sure that was a Spain Shock. I believe 3 of them dodged. Situations like that, if you've got Shock, maybe one person on the other team dodges, but if you have 3, it's still very heavily weighted in your favor, and they got 1-3. I would assume that was a Spain Shock since they had more people dodge, but it's hard to tell for sure.
I mean, England getting something from out of that race, it's only a +2, but it's something nonetheless. However, +2s are not going to cut it in this situation with 3 races going left. Spain looking not as comfortable as they want to be. However, if they are able to just get a winning race next race and then make sure they keep on to a 40 differential or more coming out of the 11th race, it means that the first match goes to them, and England are going to have to try and come back from that. That's not to say England are out at the moment, though, as we do see them pick Shipyard. Once again, another track that I know this side has liked picking. Looks like we are going to be going to it as well. Another one where triple shrooms are very good to pull just at the beginning. Because water driving is so slow in this game, using shrooms definitely helps develop breakaways, but also offensive items in the mid-pack can be pulled. OJ in second, if he pulls triple greens and is able to connect on either one of the Spain players in 1-3, we could see this turn into an England front run.
Yeah, not even at the start, this track right here, even in about 10 seconds from now, the strat where you jump up onto the rail, having to go around that very slow, you spend a lot of time in the water. The end of the track, same thing, you jump between those 2 rails, otherwise you're in the water, very slow. There are lots of places to be very aggressive with items where you either hit the opponent or force them to be very slow. And, Caesar, it looks like there's a lot of England behind him, probably going to be looking to be aggressive here. Well, I say that as Aketix is snuck into second place, so disregard that.
I mean, Caesar doing very well to get himself into the front spots. Ghost coming in after the cut, only stealing a Nana. Caesar just going to opt to hold the defense and try and run to the best of their abilities. There are some shortcuts that you can take with no item on this track. As you said, the rail shortcuts coming up and the ones at the end. But also the Shroom cut that we saw Caesar take lap 1, you can actually take Shroomless if hops are timed correctly. However, most players just tend to mash the R button and see what works. However, Shock coming in early. Lap 2 Shock. Liam dodging up into first. Axel, however, dodging though in Mega. It's 2-3 at least for Spain at the moment. I don't know who that Shock was used for, in complete honesty.
It's a little hard to tell. You know, Caesar made it across the cut, but Aketix was in second, and he presumably got target shocked by that. So I'm leaning more towards the side of an England shock, especially given that Liam was the highest dodge. But everybody hitting the Cataquacks, and now Axiel with a decent breakaway in first.
No items for Caesar is a bit unfortunate. The headbounds given from the gods just allowing him to stay in the air and keep the line tighter. It's currently 1-3 for Spain at the moment. Caesar getting into first with the draft. Able to pull defense as well, so if England has any red shells...
And trails his teammate. Oh no.
And gets red out.
Disaster class.
The momentum shifting more in England's favor now as Aketix coming up in Bill. Horn from Gold is able to not connect OJ, but connects Aketix. Unfortunately,
backing his teammate off the rail.
This race is coming so down to the wire, as we do see Spain with triple reds in first. Gold able to get the draft off. Is he able to get the miracle first?
He does keep the first, or second.
Oh, second.
It looks like, I believe, Mortlas, or is the one in first? I think I saw a Nabbit respawning up there.
Yeah.
Seal is the one in first. So, you know, good salvage from him, but you got to wonder. I don't know. It looks like England's just getting a little nervous. Lots of, I guess both sides even, having lots of TKs, lots of fails. So I wonder if, you know, between games, both sides maybe try to have a talk and get that sorted out, because at this point, this game's still winnable for England. So if they can, you know, get it together for these last couple races, they can still very easily win, given Spain are making similar errors.
I mean, it's still Spain's game to lose at the moment. England are only down 36. It's still very comebackable for them. That shipyard ending, typical to most shipyard endings, where it's just very chaotic. You don't know what's going on. It looked to be in favor of Spain, but the unfortunate TKs going into the ship just cost them big time. Was able to recover regardless, but that race could have been way more comfortable for Spain if said mistakes didn't happen. As we go to Mario Circuit, getting all the short tracks in this match. Race 11, 2 races left. This is another one where, as you were saying with Koopa Troopa Beach, you can pull Shrooms, able to take the cuts very aggressively and push up and run. However, with how short of the nature this track is, Shock is very, very unlikely to happen. However, that doesn't mean the likes of Bills, Goldens, and Mega Mushrooms are useless, though, because there are a lot of cuts on Section 3 that you can use to catch up.
Yeah, Bill on this track, incredibly strong. Mega, like you said, maybe even a little bit better, because it lets you take all those turns just a little bit tighter in the off-road. You know, Bill will last you longer and cover you from the Shock longer. But like you said, when the track's so short and Shock's unlikely, sometimes that's not always what you need. So I'd say Gold is in a great position. Star, Mega, he's covered the rest of the race. Probably going to be able to chain the Star and, you know, pull Golden even underneath for the very end.
It looks to be at least England top 2 at the moment. Caesar with the Shroom, though, has to make sure to dodge the cows. Able to do so beautifully and pulls triple reds. Might be able to support his teammates who are coming up. It's top 3 at least for Spain.
Yeah, no, that was great from Caesar. He pulls the reds, instantly backs it. Just, you know, he sees the other team behind him, instantly backs it without thinking. And reactions like that are kind of what separate the people who are the best at being aggressive from those who, you know, they try and sometimes miss. It's, you know, that instant decision making that Caesar's able to do.
Game, set, and match, though, for this game one. It's going to go in Spain's favor. It's possible for England to come back after the top 3, 5, 7. As we were saying on the shipyard race, AJ, both teams are going to have to look back at this war and try and communicate what they could have done better. If you were in both teams' shoes, what would you be telling your players right now going into this second match?
I think, it's hard to say for sure without being there in the calls, but it looks like both teams could maybe try to just be a little bit more clear on comms or what they're doing. It seems like, there's a lot of times where people are kind of holding items next to their teammates and either forcing them to, slow down or space, or even trailing them sometimes. Like we saw, it was a little hard to tell on Shipyard whether OJ it just backed him or if it was a trail. But stuff like that, especially at the end of the race, those small point swings, if you were making those kind of mistakes every race, will add up to 40 points maybe by the end of the war. So
Ending off this war on Starview Peak, a bit of a victory lap for Spain with this pick, as we do see Wario on the flying carpet. I think that's Actex from the Spain end, just doing his best to keep the mental fresh and enjoy it, not let the mistakes that happen from this match consume him, as Spain are at least 1-3-4, England player swooping into first. Everybody with shrooms trying to take cut. The Warriors stealing the England player's shrooms as Spain are able to break into top 2. Caesar, unfortunately, though, at the back end of Green Trail as he ends up all the way in 11th. It does seem to be a good few England players with him behind, though. England in at least 9-12. Spain is 10-11. So Shock is still important on this track. Mortless is opting to slow down and go for it. However, Caesar, even without Shock, can do well to just catch up if he pulls the likes of Golden Mushroom, of Bullet Bill, of Triple Shrooms. Anything is possible on this track. As Spain are given bottom 2, means that they are given 100% odds of the Shock. However, only really in play if Mortless has behind his Golden, but they're all opting to still slow down, so Shock's still probably not in play, as it doesn't really mean much, as Spain is still holding on to first place.
Caesar forced a bill as he makes yet another very uncharacteristic driving error. I think, though, in a situation like that, I would have liked to see him use that Mega, right when he pulled it, burn it to get something else behind his build. Because, he would have been able to have a chance at rolling for the shot, or he would have pulled, a Golden or another Mega. And Bill there, with the update that happened, a couple months ago, is now so strong, he would have been up there in, 4th or 5th place probably with a great item for the end. And instead he, died and now finds himself in the back yet again.
Shock coming in. Spain still being able to hold a top 2 from it. Gold kind of hoping for a miracle pull to see if he's able to do anything. Caesar with the Mega, squishing one of the England players. It's top 3 at least now for Spain, ending this war. Top 4 maybe if Handro is able to pull it and none of the England players room back up. But Spain, those final 2 races, just being very dominant, making England have to work to even try and get into the top spots. Very good performance from them. They're going to want to take those last 2 races and just try and push that into the second match.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're England, the scoreboard shows you lost by a lot, but it was really just the last 2 races. It was pretty close most of the time. I think just a few of those crucial, presumably communication errors, which kind of lost you, a lot of points, some momentum in those last few races. And even if you're England, I think you should still be happy about that war. A lot of times you were in the front. Spain pulled a lot of those blue shells, which, can be a contributor in why you lose those top spots. So, it happens. Spain did pull a lot of blues. I think in terms of front presence, England was doing great that war. And if they are able to, replicate that in the next one, they should be looking good.
Yeah, both teams, while Spain getting a comfortable victory, as we did see just a couple misplays from them as well, both teams are going to have to go get out from this match and do their best to just reset. Spain are going to try and keep the momentum that they had from the last 2 races and go forward with it. England gonna have to just try and figure out what went wrong that war to try and right wrongs in the upcoming match. But we're gonna go on a bit of a break at the moment. The next match will be the room will be open at 55, so won't be too long of a break before we are back and cast the second game of Spain versus England. So don't go anywhere. 1. Looking like England at least in first. Okay, welcome back, and sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. It is still Spain versus England. England, your red team, Spain, your blue team this time around. Race 1 has just finished. Top 3, 5 for England. I believe there are a couple lineup changes from both ends. I think Sanvi is in for Spain. It looks like Season is in for England as well. However, still the same with the cast. I'm one of your co-commentators, Nathaniel. I'm here with AJ. First match, a lot to be desired from England. However, they're starting off very strong. Spain looking on the back foot for the first time during this best of 3 series. What are we expecting going into this match too?
Well, especially given that Season is back, I think England is going to be, last war, rather, they were already great in the front. Having Season back is only going to make that stronger for them. He is a great player, and it's nice that he was able to find an extra monitor to play, since that is why he was unavailable for match 1.
Sure. Yeah, we have Sanvi in for. I don't know who Sanvi's in for Spain, but Season is in for Lee this match as we go back to Crown City. It worked out well for Spain last time around, as we see Caesar just opting to charge jump off these cards to get his coin count up early. Pulls a single shroom, is just going to have to wait until second set to try and pull anything better to catch up with. A lot of players in the back opting to try and also get the catch-up items. Triple Shrooms Bill, really good items for Caesar to try and push into the front with, as it looks to be at least England top 2 at the moment.
Yeah, Triple Shrooms Bill, you really can't ask for anything better on this track. You have Triple Shrooms, if you die, it's very easy to chain to get something good underneath the bill. Or else, you take the 1 shroom cut at the end, and then you still have 2 shrooms to save for the end of the track. So, Triple Shrooms, ideal pull to have in front of your bill.
Going into section 2, OJ ahead of Caesar right now with the red, is able to shroom past and has Liam and Mega behind to prevent himself from getting redded. It looks to be 1-3-4 for Spain at the moment, struggling to see who is in second. Beautiful coordination with Caesar and Sanvi, backing the Nanas tight on Liam, meaning that they are still able to stay in 3-4. Caesar probably just going to try and predict where the shot comes, as it looks to be a lot of England in the back at this point, as it's Spain top 4.
Yeah, Spain top 4, but a track like this, all these big shortcuts, your top 4 isn't always safe. And you can see right there, using the bill only lasts about 3 seconds, so maybe at that point, probably just better to even save it for the cut. It's just all of England coming in behind now.
Yeah, it seemed like Caesar was just trying to predict the start of lap 3 shock, as his teammates are now covering for these ending cuts to see whether there is shock in play. However, no shock yet. You're going to presume this race is going to end shockless. Looks to be a very scuffed ending as Gold pushes his way up to 6th. Caesar trailing behind in 9th place. But working out for England in the end, 1, 5, 6, 7, bottom 2 for England is okay in this situation, as I believe it is still a winning race for them, as they are up now 26. Complete contrast to what we saw from the first war, where Spain looked to be more dominant in the front. And even when England were in the front, Spain were able to break away and do what they could. However, England now on their front foot. Do you believe the substitution of Season in for Lee was very fortunate for England? Because I feel like we're seeing a whole new different England go in to this race.
Yeah, Season, he's been around for a long time. He's played Wii, he's played ADX, and he's been, at least in ADX, I know he was a very prominent part of their team in that game as well. So he just has a ton of experience. And, while Lee is in a similar boat, Season has the skill on top of it in this game. You know, he's been active at the start. He's been Grandmaster. So individually, him over Lee is a huge improvement when they both have, you know, the same similar kind of experience.
Pushing over now to Mario Bros. Circuit. A lot of players opting to go for the tires. Caesar not able to take the full effect as he was bumped into the off-road. Looks to be Spain bottom 3 to start off on this race. However, this track does have some decent catch-up potential with Golden and Bill. However, you are realistically just going to want to try and run this as Gold ghosts the triple shrooms from Mortless, means that he is able to benefit them for himself and develop a breakaway. Mortless now having to go around and save his shroom for the tire cut, as Gold is able to make the cut, have triple nanas in pocket. Has to go around the tires though, quite unfortunate, but is still able to dodge the blue shell as it's still England top 2. Liam now taking over in first. Gold with triple nanas in second. Sin, with greens in 3. They're just going to do their best to make sure Spain can't catch up.
Yeah, at this point, you know, they have 2 sets of triples in top 3, and they're being aggressive, great coordination there. Gold backing them tight, telling his teammate to go wide. You know, small stuff like that is what can really extend your lead in the top 3. And now you see they still have top 3, 5 even, with a pretty big break. The Baby Mario is the only one on Spain even remotely contesting them right now. But, you know, when they have triple greens on the rail, it's going to be really difficult.
I mean, Caesar is going to try and do something about said triple greens, but this Mega is able to connect just in time. However, Red Shell going straight for him immediately. England reclaim the top 3. Spain is now just going to try and do their best to do whatever they can. Green shells up, flying everywhere. Triple greens ghost, if there's shock in play, could be really good for Caesar. However, no shock to be in play as England is just holding onto these top spots at the moment. Caesar not gambling with the shroom. Unfortunate for him as he's to go around the cut. Shot coming in last second, but doesn't mean much as England is still at least able to get top 2. Spain may be able to clutch out some of the bid spots there, but an incredibly strong front run for England.
Yeah, I think, you know, I would like to see Caesar hold that ghost a little bit longer. You know, it seemed like that was a Spain shock, and they presumably pulled it last set and spammed. But even if England does have the shock, they're not going to use it that early. Their teammates weren't even at the glider yet. You know, I think Caesar would have been better off holding that ghost a little bit later, even to the point where he could have made it through the shortcut, because that's about the time when the teammates from England would have been on the glider, and it would have been, you know, the only time England would have ever considered using a shock right there.
I mean, Spain doing well to at least claw back from the -20 that England started them off with. However, England just holding a lot of the top spots at the moment. They're able to go more running tracks this time around to try and suit their favor. Spain opting to go for Mario Circuit. England opting for Shipyard. Spain, as you were saying, they enjoy the small tracks. They enjoy, or the shorter tracks even, they enjoy being more aggressive with their items. However, top 2 for England could develop into a front run if Liam and Gold are able to pull the correct items, such as shrooms, or even a ghost to take all the opening cuts here.
Yeah, no, this is another track. It's similar to like Koopa Troopa Beach because it is so short. If you get to the, you know, lap 2, even that first item set on lap 2, you're still able to pull the shrooms. So, you know, if you get out to the front early, it can just kind of snowball like the rest of the race away if you get lucky with those triple shroom pulls.
Looking to see a lot of England in the front at the moment. Gold getting his shrooms ghosted, quite unfortunate, means that he is going to have to take the cut a little bit slower. It looks to be at least England in top 2 at the moment. Spain actually up in their front spots as they now take over first. Caesar opting to get hit by the red makes sense as he is able to hold momentum and just holds these 2 shrooms mega potentially for a last second shock. It looks to be as if he's pushing up. Boom Boom on the track with a track as tight as this. It could be very volatile for these top spots. Caesar having to use the mega there is the correct place that he wants to use it. Is he able to kill out Season? Isn't able to.
Even if he doesn't hit Season, he connects on the Baby Mario, I believe Ryan. So great play from Caesar. You know, again, he's such an aggressive player. I don't think everyone on Spain would consider going for a play like that. But it looks like Season got last, so I'm assuming he did hit both of them, which obviously proved to yield a great result.
What a flip around from Spain there. Top 5, 7. England going up at the start of this war. Spain straight back in it. They want this game 2. They don't want this to go to a game 3 like me and you predicted. England, once again, on the back foot. A lot of pressure is now put on them. Whilst there still is time, there's a lot of made-up ground because England are going to want to send this to a third match. So, lock-in time for the England players.
Yeah, if you're England right now, it's like, well, it sucks we just got a bad race, but RMC is just one of those tracks that, sometimes, depending on the items, it's so short, it just kind of, pans out that way. So getting the bad race sucks, but a track like that's so short, so volatile, probably not too much of like a momentum killer in their eyes, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And now, thankfully, they avoided Koopa Troopa Beach back to back, which would not have been fun. But I know Season is a big fan of Peach Beach, Season and Liam both, so I'm not surprised to see them pick it. So hopefully they've got something in store to get a good race here, swing the momentum back their way.
A lot of Peach Beach comes down to lap 2 and being able to take the cuts. You can pull shrooms here. We do see Caesar opt to play aggressively as he is able to get the second set within 20 seconds, hoping his teammates are able to draft off him to pull more shrooms with him. However, a lot of Peach Beach, whether it's front run or bag, is kind of decided by who has walked going into lap 2. We see Caesar with the shroom. He's going to be able to break open the boxes that block the lap 2 cut and maybe try and develop a breakaway. However, the Rang coming up, meaning he has to burn it, and all top 2 from Spain now. None of them have items, at least from what we can see, to try and take the cut, which means this top 2 could be taken away. However, it looks to be a lot of England possessing those bottom mid spots at the moment.
Yeah, Caesar going for a Nisk. Does not connect, unfortunately. Gonna have to go around. But, oh wow, and the pack was pretty split. Sitting for that long might prove to not be the right decision. I'm not sure if he'll be able to catch up.
I mean, maybe just going to have to go for a Hail Mary at last-minute shock, as it looks now to be all of England in the front. Blue shell out, the England player in first, getting blued, but doesn't mean too much as his players are just able to pass him. Gold doing his best to stay in the back, try and create some sort of rift. Only pulling
all the players stop there. I originally thought maybe Gold trying to kind of hide, out of sight to maybe get behind the shock that England presumably has, but seeing Spain also all stop right there, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what's going on now. It looks like OJ's using nothing in last though. He probably is holding shock. Waiting for his team. He shocks. No! Ooh, if he waited, another frame for Gold to get into that build, that could have been a much better race, but
yeah, Gold with the potential to at least pass at least Sandvi, maybe 1 or 2 more of the Spain players on the line, but it's only 2-3 for England, 8 bottom 3. From what looked like to be a really good England race, Spain has just flipped straight back on its head, and they're now getting more and more of a breakaway with the differential now. England, they've got to start finding answers soon. We still have 7 races of war left to play, but if Spain is just able to keep this momentum, they could close this out early.
Yeah, I mean, that's, that was just another instance where, similar to Choco Mountain in the last war, England pulls shock, and they're trying a little bit too hard to get behind it. Now, sometimes, you get unlucky, you don't pull the dodges, but 2 races where you pull shock and you have no dodges, where you need the whole team to drop behind, that's a little worrying, because early on, you really need, especially tracks like that, you really need to be emphasizing someone getting your dodges early, running them up. So seeing that be a recurring issue is not a great sign for England moving into the rest of this war, I would say.
As we do see Spain's Koopa Troopa Beach coming back onto display. It's going to be tough to see whether England can claw their way back into this because, as we were saying in match one, Spain love this track. They love playing aggressive on it, whether it be with shrooming up or trying to stay in the back and just try and grief England as much as possible. Gold just going to do his best to push up with the shrooms at the moment. The pack is very messy, so it's hard to tell who is in the top spots at the moment, but I believe it's a top 2-5 at least for England until Liam got killed out. It was Sanvi actually up there, as it's now top 2 at least for Spain. Gold getting taken out and now just forced to stay in the back, getting hit
by the coin show.
Rough to see, but he's probably going to have to opt to either try and go for catch-up items or maybe even go for the shock for his team.
And you see Spain so many top spots. The Caesar's still with another shroom even. Just going to be so hard for these England players in 3-4 to catch up. Another great play there from, you see Caesar going wide as his teammates backing the bomb just to try to create a little bit more space.
Unfortunately not able to get the connection on Liam though, as he is able to keep pushing up with the horn. If he is able to take out the second place from Spain, the blue comes out. Mortal's taking over first. And he is sadly going to get hit by the blue. Caesar's still in first, however, it's all England behind him now. These first set is going to be very indicative of how this race plays out as Liam takes out Caesar. Ryan with triple reds. Liam with triple greens. It's top 2 for England, top 2-4. Caesar dropping
top 2, 4,
back.
6 even. Unfortunately, it looks like bottom 2, maybe even bottom 3, or maybe 10-12, 9-12. Okay, not bad. A really good race from England, catching up at the end there. You know, we saw Ryan with the ghost at the end, and Liam and Ryan both trying to be really aggressive with their shells at the end. They didn't connect, but you know, even if you only hit one person, that could be, you know, a +3, +4 swing, which when they're trying to crawl back from a deficit, every point matters. So I like to see them being aggressive at the end of that race.
They're only down 28 now. England have half a war to go. Starting out on the front foot, now on the back foot, however, showing that they can adapt under pressure. They can adapt to the Spain track picks. It's now just going to be a case of whether England is able to do something with the momentum they have, or with the point shift that they have been given, or whether Spain is going to be able to clap back with anything. As we see DK Spaceport come out for them, we see Shipyard come out from England again. We're just going all these short tracks back to back to back from Cuba Beach all the way now to Spaceport. Spain is going to try and do their best to play aggressive. However, seeing how England was able to manage and adapt to Krupa Beach, they could be able to do something here on DK Spaceport and take the advantage away from Spain.
Yeah, you know, track like this, another short one, Spain Classic. We're going to be looking for them to probably get triple shrooms and just try to hold the front. But when there's so many shroom cuts, having the early shrooms doesn't, you know, it won't matter that much come the end of the race.
Yeah, Axial trying to be aggressive with the Nana, not able to connect onto Ryan. Ryan does have a shroom, so able to take this first cut. Don't know what he has in pocket. Seems to be nothing. Caesar is just trying to play as aggressive as he can with his items. A lot of his teammates ahead of him, though, unfortunately, as he is going to try and get this red shell off. Does connect onto Season, but Season having the shrooms to recover means that the red shell isn't going to matter too much, as the pack is very split, both within the front and the back spots.
Sin committing maybe a little too hard for that Mega, but you know, maybe he's stopping anyway, so might as well take someone out with you.
Yeah, as we do see now, Caesar with the golden opting just to burn everything. England player in last could potentially have shock, as we do see a lot of England players dropping back and stopping. Shock way up there. 2 England players dodging in bills. However, Caesar is able to pull golden triple shrooms, might be able to recover something for Spain if possible. Whether England is able to take over on the final straight is about to be seen, as it looks now to be from what was Spain top 2, England top 3. Huge race for them, just swinging back the momentum once again from what looked like a very dominant race from Spain. Shock coming in absolute clutch, as this could be top 3, maybe even top 4.
Yeah, I think I want to say Sin pulled that shock in 10th, because, you know, after he mega'd Caesar, It was Caesar and OJ in the bottom two, and Sin drove through the set in 10th, and I believe he was the one who used it. So, definitely a little bit lucky on the England side, but they made great use of it and got a top four. So, very well played from them.
Only down 2 now, England. They've done really well to hold all of Spain's momentum. Now just going to be a case of whether they can get back into it. They've been taking these Spain track picks, learning from their mistakes War 1 and how Spain played those tracks well to now see if they can flip things in their favor.
Yeah, getting top four at this point, it's mostly been, again, like those shorter tracks that are a little bit more random. So we still got good tracks like you see England picking Sky High, great track for top four. Gives you a ton of chances for those early triple shrooms into breakaway.
Yeah, as you were saying, this track, brilliant for the top four. Spain are going to have to do their best now to try and stop the momentum that England is able to get, maybe with some triple green pulls, just try and go full out on the offensive. The roads are very narrow at the beginning, so they might be able to get some hits in, but it's going to be dependent on what everybody pulls here. Gold, only pulling the single shroom, that is enough to work. Green's coming out, but not connecting on any of the England players, as they are able to at least get top 2. Gold getting taken out, but not the absolute end of the world, as his teammates are able to keep the shrooms in top 2. But a lot of England players now filtered into the back, as Caesar is in 3rd with triple nanas.
Yeah, you saw England. Oh, Caesar bumped off the map with triple shrooms high up is not great. But, you saw England, they got all those top spots with shrooms. They all shroomed up. And I believe they all chained their shrooms into the next double, but were not able to pull more, which is a little bit unlucky that none of them got it. And now you see Spain up there in the top 3 with shrooms of their own starting to break away.
Spain have been doing well to get the top spots. However, as we've seen from the previous 2 races, shock or not, England has been doing well on that lap 3 to just kill out Spain. However, this top 2 is breaking away pretty comfortably now for Spain. Gold has Golden Bill. Is going to try and keep this up. Able to recover from the nana hit. Really, really good for him. Spain still top 2 though. If England want an answer and even trying to break into that top 2 for this race, it's going to have to be through shock.
Yeah, Gold forced into Bill as he misses the rail and pulls point box, so unable to really capitalize on being up there in the front.
Yeah, unfortunately, we see Caesar coming up now in the bill. It looks to at least be top 4, maybe even top 5 for Spain. No, we do see Sin in 3rd. He's going to try and hold down the front line for England. Kamek coming out, not really going to be able to do anything as the Spain players are too far ahead. Spain going to get some beautiful momentum, but Sin has died on the line.
Sin dying on the line, giving Spain a top 3, maybe even top 4, depending on who was next to Caesar as they crossed the line. Top 3, 5, and a bottom 3 for England. Now, I think 2 of them respawning at the end, which at that point, just impossible for them to catch up with no items.
Spain now in the lead once again with 30 points now, something to work with. This war has been very swingy back and forth, however, still in Spain's favor for the vast majority of it. As we do go into the final GP, it's going to be a case of whether Spain can hold down the momentum that they were just given from this Sky High Sunday race.
Yeah, at this point, 30 points is not insurmountable, by any means, but with so few races left, England cannot really afford to get another losing race, especially one to the magnitude like what just happened. So, they're going to need to really ensure that they're, even if it's looking bad, they're going to have to minimize the loss and try to keep it within, I think, 40 points in 2 races, 3 races. That's kind of like where you start to reach the point of it's dire. So they really need to focus on getting a good race here. Make sure they have Goldens for the end to catch up.
Yeah, going to Desert Hills now. One that definitely favors the Golden Mushroom the most. Definitely the strongest item on this track. Ironically enough, you actually don't want to really pull Bill here unless it's early on in lap 3, able to do most of the driving for you, but then you want Shrooms in pocket to take a lot of the off-road cuts, as the Bill will just follow the road and lose you so much time. Spain able to break away into top 2 at the moment. However, whilst this track does benefit being able to run, if you are able to take all the cuts and have Shrooms, it also favors the people in the back from being able to pull Shrooms later on in the race and capitalize on those cuts lap 3. So Spain, despite having a bit of a break in top 2 at the moment, England in 3-5, they're going to try and find some answers, but if they don't pull the shark, this could be an easy breakaway for Spain in top 2. Caesar unfortunately getting his Shroom ghosted, however, not going to matter too much as he is able to keep the lead. Slight driving mistake, but doesn't matter too much. His teammate getting blued, unfortunately, at the start of this lap. Don't think he has anything to cover for it, as Gold is in 3rd at the moment, and now it's currently England in 2-4.
Yeah, no, Alec also had a Shroom. Oh, as shot comes in, it looked like nobody really dodged, so maybe just a neutral shot from Spain to try to take away any of England's Shrooms. Not really sure.
No, I don't know.
It's like
what
Gold's in a good spot to get first here, though. And Caesar failed the NIS, which is going to lose him a bunch of spots, as it's all red coming up the cut. This is looking to be a great race for England. Spain bottom 3.
Yeah, we thought the shot a good neutral from Spain. However, England just being able to pull the correct items to pull up in the end. 1, 3, 4, 7, 8, 10 from England. It's good to keep them in it. Differential is now only 18 points in the favor of Spain. If England is able to keep getting strong races like that, big races like that, we might see this go to a game 3. However, Spain still in the lead. They just need a good race to seal out England's chances of going through to the semifinals.
Yeah, I'm thinking back. I believe it was a Kedix on the map, a little bit far behind in last. It's possible he just maybe pulled and spammed, which, depending on who on their team might have had Goldens in high spots, it could have either been good or bad. I think the bigger problem was just Caesar kind of failing that Nisk again at the end, which, him and I believe it was Alec were looking pretty good to get top 2, and then he just failed, and that led to, I believe, someone with triple reds coming up and doing more damage to the rest of his team.
We see the Shipyard pick again from England. Didn't really work out in their favor last time. However, with the momentum that England have been on, maybe able to do something different this war to see whether or not they can keep this momentum going and terrify Spain a little bit, because Spain have had a really good campaign so far. They've defeated a lot of strong teams in their top 8 bracket. They've defeated one of the favorites in France. So England knew what they were coming up against, and they're showing no fear. They're showing that they're still able to keep going even when times are tough. So
yeah, Spain definitely, missing a few notable players for the majority of this run. No Ale Formula, no Claycy, 2 very strong players. I'm not sure why they're unavailable. Maybe, there could be any reason. But making it this far without 2 of their best players is really impressive from them. And especially to, even still be competing and be winning in the semifinals, or in the quarterfinals, rather.
I'm going to say this match could definitely be what a lot of people could have predicted to be even a semifinals match, as we are looking at just all of the top 8 teams making their way into quarters. Some now progressing to semis, but looking at this lap 2 on Shipyard, Caesar unfortunately not able to make the rail. The water cycle not in his favor, forced to burn the Bill. His teammate is getting blued out of first. Golden still intact, but it's a top 2 for England. Caesar probably going to try and do his best to make some sort of catch up now, but this top 2 could break away from England if the correct items aren't pulled from Spain to try and kill that.
Yeah, especially it seems to be a lot of Spain kind of in the 3, 4, 5 area, so England really should be looking to be aggressive particularly on this upcoming rail. Try to deny all of those Spain players from taking it behind them. And you see Sin with the triple greens, forcing Caesar to stay on the bottom. Chaining his Shroom, he does luckily get another Shroom. But Sin still with the triple greens, immediately backing him at his teammate, keeping their top two.
Not coming out though for all the players on the dash panel. Sanvi up with Caesar drafting into first. He pulls the Nana. Gold is triple reds though, but he do get them horned away. Those could have been huge to try and take Caesar out of first. The ending scrappy once again, as we've seen as... Oh no,
Caesar,
that's so devastating.
Was he bumped
Caesar.
Or did he drive off? I was looking at Gold's POV there.
I think he just drove off, took the line a little too tight. So unfortunate. However, Sanvi being able to hold first, they hold top 2, 4, 5 regardless. That race could have been a bit stronger if Caesar was able to stay on the track.
Caesar saying in the chat he slipped off. Those points might end up mattering a lot here coming down to the end of the war. So not, particularly great if you're rooting for Spain, but regardless of that fail, it was still a great race for them.
Spain, they have one race to just block this out immediately. They did it last war where they were up at least 30-ish points going into race 11, and they were able to close it out on race 11. Whether we're able to see this happen again, going to be very foretelling of how the match progresses. However, I feel like the track pick is going to determine a lot here. We go to Rainbow Road, England's track pick, Spain not being able to use Bowser's Castle to run, and England are just going to have to go down swinging. Going to try and see if they can get... They probably need top 4 minimum to have some chance of getting back into this match.
Yeah, if Spain is able to even just get a plus 10 race, they're going to guarantee the win. So England is really going to need to, maintain those tops come, after the water section, after the glider section. Last time Spain had a, great shock usage, so maybe this time England maybe try to pull more dodges to cover, because, last time they found themselves in a lot of tops, but their back spots didn't have any dodge to cover, and that was kind of why they got a poor race. So England going to need to do everything they can to play around, keeping it within a 10-point race at the very worst.
Liam in first with these triple nanas. Caesar not able to really do anything with the shrooms and try and pull up. It is England top 2 at the moment. Caesar going to have to try and kill these players, but Ryan with the bomb just preventing Caesar from really being able to do anything, as it looks to at least be England top 3. Gold with the horn, trying to slow horn people off the track. Aggressive plays like that is good, but at the expense of not having a top 3 breakaway maybe wasn't the correct play, as he's now in the back but has Golden Mega able to take the golden cut above the water and then also have a dodge going into the later part of section 2 and beyond.
Yeah, Caesar and Gold both in great spots here. Again, this golden cut's so strong. Caesar, especially with the triple shrooms afterwards, I would say are a little bit better than a Mega, because he can carry these over, maybe even all the way up, to the next lap if he chooses to. But opting to just chain, get something, probably be aggressive here with Liam. Yep, instantly backs the red. Misses, unfortunately, but it was a great try, forcing him to at least take a different line.
Looks to at least be Spain top 2 at the moment.
Gold is failing that feather cut. Yep. He did not go far enough to the right, sadly, so he gets a respawn. Now he's very far back, and it's going to be a little difficult to catch up at this point.
Spain with top 2 at the moment. Caesar with great grief pulls. Backing the bomb, going to see if he can maybe try and back Liam with the hammers to try and make him burn the shroom early. No, throwing the hammers forward to try and predict Liam going forward, but not able to get a hit off, as Liam now has triple greens in second. However, this top 3 is kind of broken away from the rest of the pack, as it's currently 1-3 for Spain, 2-4 for England. Whether Liam's able to do anything with these greens on such a tough part of the track to hit anybody out with how wide the roads are is going to be seen, but Spain player falling off. Liam's now in first.
Jumping off the map, and there's a bomb on the double, blowing up onto Caesar, just extending Liam's lead even further. Top 2 now even. Top 3 for England, as they're looking to break away here on the glider.
pawn in hand for Caesar. Gold holding his bill. Maybe trying to fake Spain out and thinking that they have the shock, or whether Gold is just going to try and hope us for the ending strat and then build up.
But, when England has all of, those top 2, top 3, they don't need the shock, right? They just need Spain to not have the shock. So Gold in a great position to catch up at the end with this bill. As long as he's in the bottom 2, denying, Spain that chance to pull, he doesn't really need to be chaining his items in this instance, because he has the catch up for the end, and he's denying, Spain their chance to pull it.
I mean, just permanently setting in last with the bill, just denying at least one spot for Spain to try and go for shock. Very, very great play from him, as we do see a lot of the players taking the ending cut now. Gold making it as well. He's going to use the bill on landing to try and see if he can pull up shroom. Only 3 shrooms. It's not the greatest item in the world, but it can definitely do something. The bill doesn't drop him on the horn. Able to stay wide of that.
Coming. I'm not sure it's going to make it in time, though. Yeah, so it's going to be a great race in terms of the tops for England.
Yeah, I believe at least a top 2, 4 for England. I think the Nabbit able to hold on to third. Yeah, top 2, 4, 6. The 10, 12 is unfortunate, though. It's not going to mean that England is able to claw back into this by a lot, but it gives them something at least to work with. Spain is going to stay up. England need a huge race, 20 points or more.
Yeah, at this point in the game, getting those bottom 3 positions, it's just so punishing, because you got a great race in the tops, but not being able to salvage any mids, it is really what takes a difference from like a good race to a great race. And right there, they kind of needed a great race. So going into the last race, they're gonna be looking for a +20, and that's hard. That's hard on any track in the game. So it's really just gonna come down to how well they can get into the front and try to give, a breakaway to maybe their top spots and get either a shock at the end or some good, catch-up potential. A track like this, if they can, similar spot to Rainbow Road, if they can get a lot of those top spots and have their bottom spots pull the bill to catch up at the end, they could definitely get a +20 here.
England gonna have to coordinate how they all take this beginning, though, because if they fumble this beginning and Spain is able to break away with the 3-5 that they have, that could just be enough for Spain to win the war. Gold not being able to take the rail, unfortunately getting green, gonna have to go around the cut. It's a lot of the England players who have died, though, as Spain at least looks to be 1-3-4. We believe the Nabbit is in the first on the minimap. Gold's reading Caesar off, meaning that he is pretty much now in the back for Spain this entire race. Caesar alive, though, never mind. Lag in this game be laggy, but looking at the fronts, it's Spain in first, only Liam in second. A lot of Spain around him. Not the opening that England wanted if they wanted to send this to a game 3.
Yeah, I mean, there's still potential. These tracks, while top players should be pretty consistent, there's always the chance for them to just, especially if you do the rail cut at the start, if you're even, slightly early, slightly late, it can just instantly throw you into the lava. So there's always hope for a Spain fail to maybe give England a chance to break into those tops, as Caesar's driving into the wall with his mega.
Gold with the bill mega pull in. Last is not going to be able to roll for shock. Actex in the back with him might be able to roll for it. It looks to seem like Spain has a lot of slots with items free to try and roll for the shock and mess up with England. Gold just going to have to do his best to use his bill, maybe predict shock with mega and catch up. Caesar with a star in 8th place, griefing Gold, and it working out in his favor. All the Spain players covering for the England shock, which isn't going to come. We don't even know if it's in play yet. It's still the Nabbit at first. They get hit out on the minimap. And Caesar has a great pull in for the Caesar could save Spain, as England look to be in top 3 at the moment. Spain bottom 2. It's all of England's in the mid spots. Caesar is going to have to be their saving grace.
He had a great pull. I'm not sure I agree with his decision to instantly spam the golden there. You know, if you save it, oh no, oh no! And look at all of Spain in the back. Hold on, this might be, or all of England in the back rather. My apologies. No, it is Spain in the back. You know, I'm not sure it's enough, but you know, Spain. Yeah,
No,
I don't think it's gonna be enough.
I think Spain have barely just held on. As much as they do have bottom two and more of the bottoms, they are going to wait for Gold's POV to see where this goes.
6 points. Great effort from England at the end there. You know, and that's exactly like I said. Spain was a majority of those bills at the end of the race, and that's exactly what brought them up to save those few points that they needed at the end. So again, really good try from England, but nicely done to Spain for holding on to it at the end. You know, a little bit scary, but they managed.
Yeah, unfortunate that Gold just wasn't able to keep his spot in the front, just being taken out by the Spain players coming up. Commiserations to England. Managed to keep it very close throughout these two matches. Very, very strong from the entire roster. But that is England's World Cup dreams dead and buried as Spain move on to semi-finals where they will be playing Japan next week.
Yeah, you know, congrats again to Spain for making it. Congrats to England for making it this far. You know, going out 2-0 doesn't tell the full story. They kept it very close for, you know, the first 10 races in War 1. And this, you know, they brought it back to a single point deficit at the end of this war. So I think they played great, and they should definitely be proud of, you know, their performance today, despite it showing a 2-0 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, no, the scoreboard does not reflect what actually happened in the wars. Spain, whilst able to get the win today, England did a fantastic job of keeping it close, officially becoming one of your final four teams moving up through the tournament. They're going to be facing Japan on the other side of the bracket. I'm not too sure, actually. Let me double check and see. I think it's, yeah, USA, France, Spain versus Japan. Those matches going to be happening this weekend, with the finals happening on Sunday. So Spain are able to keep their phenomenal World Cup campaign going. They have a chance of defeating, I mean, Spain, with their performance this run, could even be debated to be a top 4 team this tournament with the likes of Japan, France, and USA, at least in my opinion. So,
yeah, definitely.
I've just got to applaud Spain. They've done really, really well. So,
yeah, I think I believe we were gonna try to get an interview with maybe Caesar. Is that still happening? That's still in the plans.
We'll see if they're able to jump in.
There he is.
I guess it's coming. Give me a sec.
No worries. Once we get both of you here, we'll run an interview.
Oh my gosh, man.
Firstly, Caesar, congratulations on the 2-0 versus England.
Thank you. Big thanks.
I can imagine the stress that you were feeling going into that final GP. How was it playing against England and doing your best to keep it a win, and how close it was?
I knew since the very first moment we were facing them that it was going to be such a close match. I did not expect the 2-0. I did want it. I did believe in getting the 2-0. Not as much of like, but I'm like saying stuff that I'm not thinking. So I wanted so badly to get 2-0, but my feeling was that we were gonna go to a third match, and if we went to a third match because of me, I was gonna be like so mad. Try to move Hackets, I think. No, he's not. Maybe in a second. I'll try to invite him.
No worries. I'll give you time to see whether Actex is going to join before I ask questions. Don't want you to multitask.
Yeah.
like crazy. But
Um,
close series throughout both. What do you think that you guys did correctly in these two matches to keep your lead? Because you had a very dominant lead in the first match, and whilst the lead wasn't as strong in the second, still able to clinch it out at the very end.
Driving, in my case, not the best. Let's be honest. But overall, I think we just like played together. Like as you know, with like not the best individual players, but we have really good synergy between us, and with our chemistry, we played really well. We play really good with each other in a team, and we just try to coordinate the best as we can in order to, get everything well, like control the whole race.
Actix now joining the VC. Actix, congrats on making it to semi-finals. How are you feeling after that best of three match, 2-0 versus England?
I'm very happy. Like we already tied the best position of Spain at World Cup, so being in both, like I only played 2 World Cups and both I got into 4th at least, so that's something I'm really happy about it.
And we're not gonna we're not gonna stay only with the tie. We're gonna try and beat it, of course.
I mean,
some main objective.
Yeah, making podium would be absolutely huge for you guys. You guys do go up against Japan this weekend, and they had a bit of a shaky group stage. However, they've been very dominant against the likes of Chile and Canada in this knockout stage. What are you guys planning on doing throughout the week to try and get yourselves prepared for the war?
We want to try play with Japan as much as we can, and the thing with them is that I believe they're winnable, but they need to not have that plot armor. Let's be honest.
So you think it's going to be a thing?
They have a little plot armor, so yeah.
So it's a thing of making sure that you guys are able to strip them of the plot armor, or just try and have the plot armor yourself.
Obviously, first of all, we need to play not like me during this match, of course. First of all, and second, we need to be like really focused in the match, no distractions, nothing, and play as we know how to play. We've already showed what we're capable of, so I don't think there should be any issue in playing like how we've played against France or how we played against England right now. All that we know how to play the game. We just need to play the game, and that's what we need to play the game normally,
I mean, are you guys going to take this? You guys looking forward to the final? Obviously, France and USA on the other side of the bracket. Are you guys are you guys looking forward and seeing whether you will be in the finals? You're looking at your potential opponents, or are you just going to take it one step at a time and see if you can get over the Titan Pass?
Right now. Sorry if I'm cutting you.
No, you're good.
We're just gonna think about semis. We're gonna go there. We're gonna try to at least take it to a third match in case we lose, for example, the first one. But we're gonna try and at least not have 2 matches that we lose. Either have 3 matches 1-1 or 2 matches that we 2-0. So that's the only thing I'm thinking of right now. If we get to finals, that's a bonus, and we'll obviously go and win that. But right now, our main objective is winning against Japan, and doing that would be such a huge mark for Spain overall, because Spain has never got second or top 2, I should say, in a World Cup, has never got to finals, and being able to have a new completely generation team, because we're missing a lot of the old players, Angel, Drag, Tony, DG14, all these people. We're missing all these like stars, we should say, Manster as well, if you remember from the very old World Cups. We're missing all those players that in 8 Deluxe they were extremely amazing. However, we weren't capable of getting to third place. And our main objective is literally beat that and show that the new generation of Team Spain in MKWorld is actually good. Because many people were saying that we were really awful, that they didn't think Spain was going to do a really good job at the World Cup. And here we are. We are already in semis, and we're going to fight for that silver medal.
Yeah, last question from me. Any just closing thoughts on the match? Anything you guys want to say to England before I have AJ take over and ask questions for you guys from the both of you now? Just any closing thoughts from that match?
Oh, definitely that England is like really strong. Like obviously, first match we saw that went really well for us, but they woke up for second match and we almost slip off, like I did on Shipyard. We almost slip off and go to a third one. And to be honest, I'm really happy. They should be really happy as well. They have a really good team. Like England is so good, and having players like Season come back to the game, because Season was really out of the scene before World Cup, is cool. Let's say that, and it's always respect to England, and I love them. They're really, really, really cool guys, and obviously more really good players, as they showed.
So I've got one question for you. Kind of going back to the previous one where you said you're missing, a bunch of players from previous games who are, not really into Mario Kart World. Having, two of your notable players, Ali Formula and Clacy, both gone for a majority of this tournament, how have you dealt with that as the leader? What have you been trying to do to get the rest of the players, kind of being able to fill their role?
Yeah, so I was the one that had this been told. I told them this later, but they were really motivated to keep playing and thinking that we don't need them. We have already showed we're capable of. It's also what I say, that they were gonna be obviously Perma, Ale Formula, Clacy, Guti, and myself, and then two more. I was gonna be the lead for the whole World Cup. Maybe one more change, it's fine. But to be fair, I think we have a Lu that we play every single day. We've played every single day with each other, and we know more how to play with those players instead of mixing whole loose. That's also what France has. They play each other a lot and they don't mix it too much, And having them is also a big loss, obviously, but we just have to stand up and try to keep doing our best. And it's what we've done.
Awesome. Well, again, it's nice that you were able to have people kind of step up to fill that role, and clearly it's working out. So good luck in the semis versus Japan.
Big thanks, man. Good luck as well for US against France.
Yep, thank you. Thank you.
Hopefully, we'll see France against England. England, sorry. Oh my God. And France, I say. We'll see Spain against USA, but otherwise, I'm extremely happy already with the result. And whoever makes it to finals deserves it. Either Japan, Spain, or France and the US.
Yeah, no matter how it goes down, it's going to be a great finals to watch for sure.
Oh, semis could definitely finals. Let's be honest.
For sure.
Any one of the 4 matches, I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, 2 matches even. But yeah, thank you both again for joining the VC. We'll let you go and celebrate with the rest of your team now. But thanks again for jumping on the interview. Big appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you all.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we are going to get one England player in now. We're going to get Liam into VC, have a quick interview with him, and then we're going to wrap up the stream. Liam, how you doing, mate?
Hello. I'm good, man. Are you good?
I'm good, man. It was a very
we had a fun time, I think.
entertaining to watch. Yeah, for sure. Firstly, commiserations on the loss to Spain. Do you guys feel like you could have done anything different going into the match with preparation, or did you guys just go out there and give it all you could
I mean, it's one of
Internet.
those. It's like, was it, how much we lose by 6 or something?
Mhm.
It's single digits. So I mean, admittedly, if you're losing by that much, there's probably little things you can do. But I don't know. I guess I'm not trying to think about that too much because there was probably little mistakes from all of us, all over the place, and I don't know. Close what's happened. It's just one of those, really. But
I mean-
we're happy we went out fighting at the end, you know, because match 1 was a bit of a blowout.
Mhm.
Shame we couldn't get it done match 2, but we're happy at least we went out kicking and screaming, you know.
Yeah, for sure. England with, I don't know, it looked to be a rough campaign at the start for you guys in the group stage. Matches just not going in your favor. Were you guys able to stay motivated and keep things going just after the results at the start? Because I can imagine it being a bit tough to play in the group that you were in the initial group stage and keep morale at a high whilst things weren't going your way, as a lot of those matches just came down to the last few races as I was watching.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, we had a really close war against the US. Barely beat Germany, and then it was just a blowout against Japan in the group. It was pretty disheartening to go bottom of that group because it was so close, and then obviously we got that really difficult Australia matchup for it. But I mean, how were we feeling? How we were feeling after the first Australia match? We were pretty chill overall. I mean, we just chilled out and just kind of discussed what went wrong. Like, not really any more deep than that. We just sat with each other and said, okay, what went wrong? Because we lost by almost 100. So clearly something went really, really wrong. And I mean, we clearly figured it out. And, you know, we did really give them a game match 2 and
was able to blow it out match 3, which was, I think,
Yeah.
for a lot of people, was definitely one of the most entertaining games to watch in the bracket stage so far. So whilst not being able to make it, I feel like you guys have just been able to entertain with the matches that you have provided for us. But
yeah.
last question for me is anything that you want to say to Spain, or just any closing thoughts on England's World Cup campaign and whether how you guys are going to prep for the next World Cup?
Well, firstly, good games to Spain. I mean, they played extremely well. I mean, they beat us by almost 100 match 1. Obviously, we were able to get the job done match 2. We wouldn't have had that much pressure on ourselves in match 2 if we, you know, if they didn't play so well match 1. So all credit to them. And on England's campaign, I'm personally quite happy with it because I played one World Cup. I played one World Cup in 2023, and that was when it was we kind of repeated history this tournament because we also barely went bottom of the group in that 2023 World Cup. And then because of that, we also got a really difficult matchup in the Netherlands. But in 8 Deluxe, we lost to the Netherlands 2-0, I think. This time we got Australia, which, you know, they have Optic, Borga. That's a really hard team to beat. And we did go, you know, down 1-0 at the beginning, but this time we were able to actually make the comeback and go 2-1. So I think just that resilience in the Australia match, that's the highlight of the tournament for me. I think we did really well there. I mean, we kept it close against Spain, which Spain are pretty insane. They topped the group with, was it France, Italy, and Canada? You know, beating France, which is, you know, they're cracked for that. So I think the fact we really gave them a game, you know, it's something to be proud of.
Lovely stuff.
We gave you guys an entertaining watch as well.
No, I feel like all of England's matches have been very entertaining to watch. So thank you and the England side for pulling through, gathering for matches and playing in this World Cup. And thank you for agreeing to do this interview despite the 0-2 loss. But glad to see that you and the guys of England are in high spirits. And thank you everybody for watching on the cast. We will be pinging you guys in the server with the schedule soon for Spain versus Japan and USA versus France. Thank you, AJ, once again for co-casting with me, and Astro for the stream here.